Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to remember Marty Smiley, a father to none, a partner to no one. He will be remembered for his courage, bravery and fearlessness. Rest in peace.
The reason I'm currently 6 feet under is because this kind of burial could become one of the better alternatives for us in the future. Right now, I have some grave concerns that we're running out of space to bury the dead, especially right here in Sydney, where by 2050, it's expected that there'll be no graves left. In fact, some cemeteries have been full for decades. All around the country, capital cities are having trouble finding new space. So much so that you don't buy a grave for your loved ones, you rent one. Which means after 25 years, if you don't renew it, your dad could get dug up and replaced with somebody else's dad. So what happens if there's no room left after I finally cark it? Where will they bury us? There isn't one cemetery in the country that's trying to work that out more than this one, Rookwood. It's the biggest in the Southern Hemisphere, the 6th largest in the world. There are 1 million graves here that take up 286 hectares. By car, it takes 4 minutes just to drive past it.
Marty, welcome to Rookwood.
Cheers. This place is massive.
Yeah, it is. Let's jump in the car and we'll take you for a bit of a tour.
Sounds good. So, how long until Rookwood is full?
Probably about another 10 to 20 years. Australia, every year, 150,000 people die. So in Sydney, it's around about 30,000 or 35,000. You would wonder why we're running out of space, but when you've been operating for 150 years, obviously things have to fill up.
How are you guys dealing with space issues here? Like, just looking around now, it looks like there's more space. I don't know, can you just fill in the gaps?
Well, we can. We can fill in some of the roads, but that's only a short-term answer. The long-term answer to sustainability and allowing us to bury people for generations is for us to acquire new land.
So the biggest cemetery in the Southern Hemisphere needs more land?
Correct.
That seems crazy. So now we're in a spot that's obviously full. I wouldn't be able to bury my parents here. Who do you think this is a major concern for?
Oh, look, it's a major concern for every community in Sydney that wants to have a choice to bury. The obvious communities like the Islamic community and the Jewish community, but also most of the Orthodox communities like the Greeks, Macedonians, Serbians, and then some of the Chinese communities don't have any option to cremate.
It's Rookwood's priority to find a place for those communities because a burial is in line with their religious practices. But with space dwindling, the cemetery has had to go above ground.
So this is one of the very rare spaces in Rookwood that don't have any burials in it.
It's not even that big.
It's not, but what we've got planned for here is a multi-storey building that will allow us to build 4,000 crypt spaces.
These high-rise mausoleums are just one way to bury the dead. There are green burials, a spot in the bush on some reserved land. No headstone, just some coordinates so you can find your loved one. If you opt for cremation, you can turn your ashes into trees, diamonds, glass, or even fireworks. Or you can always freeze yourself cryogenically and hope science can bring you back to life in the future. But there is one other alternative you may not have considered.
G'day, Marty.
How's it
Hi,
going?
Marty.
Good,
Hi.
thanks.
This is your humble abode?
It is. Welcome. Come on in.
Thank you very much.
Right, so you wanted to have a chat?
Well, this is kind of an uncomfortable topic to talk about death while you're still living, but it's something that you guys have actually made plans for.
A lot of people aren't to crash out on this idea, but they're entitled to their view, the same as we are.
Jeff and Gillian have opted for an upright burial with Tony Duplay, who runs a carbon-neutral cemetery without tombstones. Every time someone is buried, a tree is planted in their name.
I do remember thinking way back, I wonder what it'd be like to, say, be enjoying springtime arriving and thinking, I wonder how many more I've got left. And I guess now we're sort of thinking that.
So, why didn't you just get cremated? Takes up less space.
Well, the amount of energy required for one body, apparently, is equal to the amount of energy used to travel from Melbourne to Sydney, like 500 miles. I think it's about 800 kilometres.
There are 500 people like them who've booked themselves in, and another 50 who've already been buried.
My concern with cremation is the amount of energy that it requires. We started working on this process in 1984, which is a hell of a long time ago, and at that time people were equally amused and horrified. We were accused of being ungodly and disrespectful. I just think that's a massive amount of black balloons being released into the atmosphere when you can do the process naturally. One of the more delightful cases was a fellow who was a paraplegic. He'd been in a wheelchair for decades, and I spoke to him before he died, and he said, "I just want to be able to stand for all eternity." And we could do that for him. He was stoked, his family was stoked. At the burial, they had a great ritual, and it was terrific.
And funerals have changed. Nearly every funeral I've been to, and there have been a few recently, has been a celebration.
It's different to the olden days where they all dressed up in black.
Oh, and you weren't allowed to smile and you had sad songs. People don't do that now.
Do you know what's going to happen at your ceremony? Do you have a final song you want to go out on?
Probably a Slim Dusty thing, Lights on the Hill or something.
How do you feel about standing throughout the...
Well, as long as it's feet first. Because I wouldn't like the blood running to my head.